Okay, time for five more of my favorite non-metal, non-hard rock, non-hip-hop albums. Just kind of more mainstream material, but stuff that means a lot to me. So we're going to start off with a big one, Red House Painters, the self-titled album, or some people call it Roller Coaster due to the album artwork. And what are my favorite songs on here? Katie song is the one everyone talks about. Mistress, Things Mean a Lot, Roller Coaster, and especially the opener, Grace Cathedral Park. It might be my favorite song. That's one of the few songs that will almost put me into tears if, I let it. But this one came out in 1993, and it was their debut album, as I mentioned. By far the best, even though Down Colorful Hill, which I think is like their fourth album, that's the second best. But I was going to take a step back in time. Mark Kozelek, who is the singer and songwriter of Red House Painters, he has a band called Sun Kil Moon. They're pretty popular, especially 10 years ago, but they're still popular now. And as their popularity peaked, there was definitely a returning interest in the Red House Painters material. So that's when I got into it. Definitely a little bit behind. And I did see Sun Kil Moon live once. My wife and I went, saw them at the Opera House in Toronto. We got the tickets way early. I for some reason, I thought that would be a guaranteed sellout. And there might have been 100 people there. I was kind of surprised. But, yeah, Sun Kil Moon. I like everything up to Universal themes. And then after that, song here and there. It's definitely been a big change in style. But that is one of my favorite albums. And now we're going to talk about Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Tender Prey. I've picked up several Nick Cave albums over the years, mostly based on, the respect given to him by people that I respect. Some I like, some I'm kind of neutral on, but this album, to me, is his best one. This one came out in 1988 on Mute Records. I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10. Here's a bit of a weird one. This is Daryl Hall, Laughing Down Crying. This album came out in, I'd say, 2010, 2011. And Daryl Hall, of course, is from the very famous American pop rock group, Hall & Oates. It's one of my favorite older groups. And I bought this randomly back when I had a little bit of money to spare and you want to buy something. But look at that album cover. Look at the back. Like, that's just your local small town guitar teacher, and that's a solo album that he can't sell. That's what it looks like to me. But I thought this was a nice CD, and especially the first song, the title track, Laughing Down Crying. I thought that was a great track. I'm not going to get into Hall & Oates. Who knows where to begin or end with them. But Daryl Hall, he also had his first solo album in 1980. It was called Sacred Songs. And I only bring that up not just because it's a pretty good album, but it was produced by Peter Fripp from King Crimson. And there's an Aleister Crowley influence all over the place, from the hand gesture that Daryl's making on the cover to the lyrics. I don't know if it's just a passing interest he had, or I'm not sure. It was very bizarre, but interesting. All right, we're gonna go to the Misfits, Famous Monsters. I was kind of going back and forth between this one and American Psycho, but there's a lot of people that don't like the non-Danzig Misfits material, and I agree that the stuff they've done over the last decade or even longer hasn't really appealed to me much. It's average at best. But I love the Michael Graves era, again, American Psycho and Famous Monsters. I went with this one. There's just so many songs I think are awesome. Helena, Fiend Club, Living Hell, Saturday Night, Scream, Dust to Dust. Those are the best ones. But I give this one a 9 out of 10. I think it's awesome. And finally, Grade, Under the Radar. Grade were a hardcore band I think they're from Burlington, Ontario, which isn't too far from me. This came out on Victory Records. And I forget what they did before this, but they definitely had an album that came out after that was also on Victory. But this album is very special to me. Came out in 1999. My favorite songs are The Inefficiency of Emotion, Triumph and Tragedy, A Year in the Past, Forever in the Future, and there's a couple more. Oh, Second Chance at First Place, that's a great one. But yeah, very emotional album. I don't want to sell it short as a hardcore album. This isn't heavy. It's, I guess, post-hardcore. Good musicianship, emotional songs. This is a classic. Classic for sure. And I don't know what stopped me from looking at the album that followed it. But I think that was it for them, actually, after that. So, that's it. Some classic albums to me. No metal. But great all the same. Thanks for watching.